clear the space. Thank you. May the Holy Spirit speak through me today. May everything that comes through on this video be for the highest good and ultimate healing and liberation of the earth and all sentient beings. Thank you. Okay, so I am going live today because live seems to be the only way that I can do this today. I've been releasing a lot, I've been learning a lot, so much happening with me, so many blessings and gifts, and it's been one of those months on top of, well, one of those days on top of one of those weeks, on top of one of those months, on top of one of those years, on top of one of those lifetimes where you just drop to your knees in awe and gratitude of the way that the universe comes together to make everything perfect in every moment. And I'm so, so grateful to be here. So today is my offering to you all. I'm going to answer a bunch of questions that I've been getting through. Hello, howdy. If you have questions for me or anything you want me to tune into while we're going live today, this is your opportunity to engage and to speak up, and I'll do my best to bring through information of the highest light and love, truth and compassion. If things don't resonate with you while I'm live, or you're watching this as a replay, please just throw it out. Trust your own intuition and trust that whatever's happening is there for a reason. Maybe I'll say something that triggers you a little bit. Maybe I'll get something wrong. Who knows? I am as perfect as any fool who gets anything wrong. So let's just flow with it. Hi Aries the Ram, feel free to ask me questions or do whatever you want on the call today. I'm here for you. Hello Bridget, and thank you for your beautiful messages, Bridget. Thank you all for your beautiful messages and kindness and emails. I'm overwhelmed with love, and I am so sorry that I suck so bad at getting back to people on social media and emails. I do have 3 kids and an editing job, and I'm doing readings and also just trying to live the best life that I can. And yeah, you're all spiritual, you get it. Sometimes being stuck on the screen is just not your thing, but I'm still here and I do eventually get to everybody. So we're going to trust the timing here. Happy Mother's Day. Thank you. That's a beautiful reminder. Okay. So something that I want to share with you all as we get started, a little energy reading. There's been a divine mother energy across the planet coming to a lot of us at this time. If you saw, I uploaded a video a few weeks ago about sensing this mother energy. Is the subconscious holding us back or helping us? Good question. This mother energy is coming up from the planet to meet us, and it is an embodied experience of knowing. So if you've been learning to trust your intuition or channeling from a very crown chakra mental space, so for example, I'm pretty sure I have ADHD, I overthink a lot, I have a lot of mental energies, I've been spending a lot of my life healing father wounds. There's a lot going on up here, right? But the mother energy is reminding us that we came here to be human. We came here as ambassadors for Gaia. And if you're new to the planet, like me, maybe it's really hard for you to ground and really engage, right? Really engage. So I'm trying to look at the camera and not at my own face. Is that vain or egotistical? It's just really hard not to look into somebody's eyes when you're talking to them, and that's me at the moment. But allowing yourself to sink deeper into the earth, into that mother energy, is going to integrate all of that information in a new way. That song Meet Me Halfway by the Black Eyed Peas has been coming up for me for years, right? What are we going to do with all this cosmic energy if we don't hold it, if we don't have a container for it? It's just going to go straight through the planet or bounce straight back up. But when we work with the planet and we feel what's rising up from within us, and we allow ourselves to know what we know and feel into our body and trust that our own bodies are oracle decks, that our own bodies are dowsing rods, that our own bodies and minds and hearts, that the breath itself tells us everything we need to know. that is when we flow, is our higher selves, is our most divine selves in every moment. And that might sound a little bit abstract to you, but if you've been called to deal with mother wounds lately, or to address your relationship with the planet, or maybe your feminine side wants some love and healing and you need to relax and receive, or maybe you're being invited to look at yourself as a mother or as a parent and the way that you nurture the beings around you. That's all coming up for a reason. All that self-doubting, all those feelings of abandonment, all those feelings of not being loved enough, all those feelings of not being able to love enough, all of that is coming up so that we can give them a huge hug. Thank you, Laurie, for that insight on our call today. But all of that is coming up so that we can give them a huge, huge, huge hug and love it, and so that we can show up better than ever. I had a beautiful meditation retreat the other weekend, and I wasn't sure how to come back to you all after that because it was so full of revelations. But a lot of worthiness issues came up for me, and one of the things that kept coming back for me is, well, then be worthy. Be worthy of everything that you want. And what does that mean? Sometimes it means try a bit harder, but it means dropping your limiting beliefs and understanding that you are already everything that you need to get the work done. Stop making excuses for ourselves and start living a life that we believe is worthy of abundance. Do you believe that you deserve all of the abundance and love coming to you? And if not, how can you be more worthy of that? Another thing that came up for me, I felt it like a knot in my rib. And I asked it, what is this pain? What do I need to release? And I started sobbing. And I was thinking, well, my mother doesn't love me. So how could I love me? How could anybody else love me? And the mother energy answered back, is that true, that your mother doesn't love you? And I said, no, of course not. She loves me intensely. It's her own feelings of not being able to love herself that makes her push me away or makes me feel that I'm not lovable. And the mother answered back, do you see now why it is so important that you love yourself? How is anybody else going to feel love? How is anybody else going to feel the love of their partner, their brother, their sister, their parent, if we don't love ourselves first? So if you want to break those cycles in your own life, think about the ways in which you are loving, because that is how you fill your cup and spread that to others. Okay, Bridget, you said, is the subconscious holding us back? Absolutely it is. Absolutely. It can propel us forward and it can hold us back. My understanding of the subconscious is it's kind of the autopilot, right? So we have our conscious mind where we think out our thoughts, we make decisions. Then we have the unconscious where everything gets really squashed down because we can't deal with it, right? It's like, well, that's a dream, I'm not ready for it, I don't believe that angels exist, so I'm going to leave all their messages in my unconscious for my dream space. The unconscious is what really becomes part of the body. You know, if you've got pain somewhere, that's an unconscious belief or feeling that's asking you to make it conscious. Feel into it. Let yourself know what you know. Stop thinking. Stop thinking you know it already. You know what your body's trying to tell you. It's your body. It's you. Okay? Get to know your body. Get to know yourself. Listen for what's coming up. The subconscious to me, and look, if you're a psychotherapist or you have a different idea of this, please excuse me. I did a little bit of psychoanalysis at uni, but this is kind of my understanding based on, channeled information and reading. But the subconscious is kind of the halfway point. It's the autopilot. It's the things we do and the emotions that come up that we're not thinking about, but are nevertheless present in our lives. And we do a lot of living through our subconscious, okay? So, for example, accidents are often sub or unconscious things, maybe we really don't want to go out somewhere and we just really need some space alone. And so we ignore that ticking in our car and we let it break down, and we know exactly when it's going to break down because we're connected to all that is, and unconsciously we know everything. And then we let the car break down, and then we have to say, I'm so sorry, I can't make it, my car broke down. Subconsciously you let that happen. Subconsciously you made that happen. You couldn't consciously admit to yourself or reconcile that you didn't want to go and you didn't know how to work with it. So subconsciously you manifested what you actually wanted anyway, okay? Understanding our subconscious can be difficult because it requires being brutally honest with ourselves. It requires understanding that, you know, in a lot of ways there aren't a lot of accidents. And I know that this is dubious area because it's like, well, are we fully responsible for everything in the universe, or are we co-creators? I don't have the answer for that, but when my heart fills with love and I breathe light into that space, I'm just told to have compassion with these things that come up. Love, forgiveness, compassion. We're all learning, and we're all trying to work out how to drive these bodies on this planet. But if you want to reprogram your subconscious, there are lots and lots of tools for that, like affirmations, meditations, subliminals, you know, listening to tarot readings where people are telling you you're super awesome while you're doing a workout. Like, all of that is reprogramming you. But one of the best things you can do to reprogram that is change your relationship to fear. Okay, change your relationship to fear and you change your entire life. If your fear and pain is coming up, instead of being afraid of that, or instead of judging yourself for being sad or angry, instead of going, oh no, I'm not spiritual enough, I'm not kind enough, I'm not angelic enough, I thought I was doing the work and I was in the vortex, and then all of this stuff came up and I'm failing and I'm going backwards. Hypnotherapy, yep. I mean, it depends, all of these things depend on the hypnotherapist, whether you're in resonance, whether you're ready for it at that time. Keep asking for everything to come to you as you need it. Just keep asking to be a vessel for love, a vessel for light in the world. And exactly what you need will come up when you need it. And you know, here I am, my intention for the day was to say stented. And I was so impatient today. I was like zipping around in traffic. You know, I was like rushing my kids out the door to school even though we were early today. People were trying to tell me stuff today and I was thinking, this isn't relevant. I don't need to hear this. Hurry this along, please. And I don't know why I was so impatient. But all of these were reminders to like come back to center, to come back to who I am, okay? And to flow and to trust and accept that all of these things that I maybe saw as inconveniences were actually guidance from the universe. My beautiful partner keeps reminding me about all the NPCs in the universe. You know, when you're playing a video game and some random character comes up, it's like, press A to talk, and they say, there are some chickens over there. I wonder if someone can help me round them up. I could give them some money for it. And then you go and do your little side mission. You know, everybody in the universe, think of them as these NPCs in video games, and it might sound random, but when someone talks to you, think of it as like they've given you an oracle card. Say, here, this is your reading for the day. This is what you need. You asked for guidance and clarity, and I'm giving it to you. Accept that. Slight caveat. Be careful what you're asking for. And I talked about this with my Patreon group recently when we were setting intentions. So if you're all into manifesting and setting intentions, you know that having an emotion attached to that intention is really the only way to manifest it, right? So if you're like, yeah, I want $1 million, $1 million, $1 million, $1 million, whatever. It's like, okay, well, if you're indifferent to $1 million, that's probably going to work for you. But having $1 million all of a sudden would be like, woohoo! Then you want to be in that energy of like, woohoo, every time you visualize having $1 million, right? So if you're manifesting, say patience, for example, what do you think the universe is going to have to give you so that you get patience? Nobody's patient when their life is going perfectly. If your life is flowing and easy and wonderful, no one's going to say you're so patient because you have nothing to be patient about. That's not what patience is. Patience is staying calm and centered when everything's delayed. So if you're saying, God, give me patience, God's going to make you sit and wait in limbo for a long time. I recently, a few months ago, caused a whole lot of chaos in my peaceful life because I was manifesting the feeling of relief. Relief of like, we did it, it's over. But my life was going great at that time. So what did I have to manifest in order to go, a lot of chaos? And then I did work out what was going on. And then I got that feeling of relief when I worked it out. So think about what you're manifesting emotionally, because there's a narrative attached to emotions. And your subconscious has a lot of ideas attached to that, a lot of limiting beliefs, a lot of stories. If you think you're going to go, woohoo, what narrative is behind that? Did you have to accomplish something? Did you have to be super lucky? Did something you didn't even know was meant for you show up? Does it mean it has to be a surprise? Or does it mean you worked hard for something and it paid off? Really ask yourself what that emotional narrative means to you. How did you get to that feeling? What do you believe it takes to get to that feeling? And use that, or an awareness of that, to reprogram your subconscious, if that makes sense. So choose an emotion that's going to imply a happy journey beforehand, if that's what you want to manifest and you want to get there easily. Okay, hypnotherapy, because I want to know what's in my subconscious that I can't remember. Hypnotherapy, absolutely awesome for that. I just want to say something for those of you who don't have access to a hypnotherapist at this time. Say like you're a little bit broke, there aren't any that resonate with you in your area yet, you're just waiting for it to come up. Essentially what a hypnotherapist does is they get you into a deep meditative state so that the memories can rise up to the surface, okay? You can do this with yourself too. Oh, thank you so much for the love, sir, to say sec. May it multiply times 10 million. And I mean that. Maybe I'm manifesting a huge weird economy crash with inflation by saying that. May it multiply by at least 10,000. Thank you so much. Really kind of you. Okay, what was I saying? I got all excited. Thank you very much. Okay, so a meditative state will naturally do that anyway. Guided meditations are good for that. Sometimes just deep breathing and silence and calling in your guides and angels and ancestors of the highest light and love. All of this will help the memories necessary to you to come up. Intention setting is very important too. So if you say, I want to clear all limiting beliefs between me and my abundance, okay? And then you go into that deep meditative state. You're going to get a memory come up that's attached to that block so that you can release it. And essentially what you're doing is bringing that from your subconscious to your conscious mind to be reconciled, okay? Sometimes that's enough to resolve it. And also, if you're also looking at bringing up like suppressed memories and things like that, Silver's Ultramind method is really, really good too. I've talked about this meditation technique a billion times. You can read his book. Basically, you close your eyes, breathe deeply, look up with your eyes closed, and count backwards from 100. That's it. If you can't meditate, do that. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, count backwards from 100. And every time you do that, you get into a deeper and a deeper and a deeper state. Another great tip that I use, because I got kids and sometimes I have to meditate with them running around the room, this mantra. Every distraction sends me deeper into meditation. Or every distraction brings me deeper into a theta state. Every distraction brings me deeper into myself. And then every distraction becomes a ping and you feel yourself drop deeper and deeper into it. It's wonderful. You get to command your body. It's you. Like this, your body is consciousness, okay? It's just an extension of your brain, thoughts and feelings, okay? Don't think of it as some used car that you got stuck with that you don't know how to drive. It's you. If you want to understand what's inside your brain, look at your palms, look at your arms, look at, feel that sensation in your chest. Where are the blockages? Like, everything you need to know is out here, okay? All right. So yeah, hypnotherapy, awesome, and I'm so excited that you're all curious about this. If anybody's tried like QHHT, please let me know. I feel really drawn to that. And I also feel really drawn to CE5. And I keep thinking about you all, and I saw a 144 CE5 Rego the other day, and yeah, every time I see the 144 plates, I'm like, I need to get back to the collective. So much love, Joey. Okay. What were some other questions that came up? Excuse me if I missed something. Oh, look, I can hit a little comment button and see their messages. How do I do that? Yes. I'm learning how to use technology. Even though I'm a millennial and should be able to keep up better. Okay, so the subconscious just gives you messages to move forward. Absolutely it does. Absolutely. Thing is though, you got to be curious. Don't be afraid of the pain. If something comes up, like if you got a pain in your heart and you're like, what is that? And you breathe and feel into it, and then the thought comes or the feeling comes to you immediately of like, I suck so bad. Don't be afraid of that. Be curious about it. Be like, okay, I suck really, really, really bad. All right, okay. What else? What else? Okay, do I really suck bad? What's going on there? Okay, I'm judging myself for yelling at my kids this morning, and for yelling at my kids yesterday, and for generally not being soft enough or loving enough. And okay, is that true? Am I not soft enough or loving enough? No, I'm actually really, really loving, and I try really, really hard, but I'm really, really burned out, and maybe I'm not loving myself enough so that I can give enough. And you see how that starts to spiral? Be curious. Let it spiral. And trust that you're going to spiral towards God in the light because you're committed to your healing. You're all light beings, okay? You're not here if you're not a light being, okay? Allow yourself to be curious about yourself and trust that every shadow you bring up is bringing you closer to God, bringing you closer to the light, bringing you closer to the divine. Insert highest light of your choice, whatever you call that. That's what that's bringing you closer towards. You know, I was reminding beautiful Laurie, who I had a reading with this morning, the closer you are to the light, the longer the shadow you cast. It's a cliche, but as you bring all that light into you, you get to just do deeper and deeper spring cleaning, okay? Don't think that your darkness is just unique to you, okay? You've got a body with karma, you've got past lives, there's collective trauma coming through us at this time. And also sometimes bad feelings are just addictive. Our body literally gets addicted to sadness and pain. I had a bad thought come up the other day, and it was something, like I was reflecting on something, well not even reflecting, I just thought about like something that annoyed me a couple of days ago that I'd already talked about, resolved, felt fine about, but it came up again. And it was just that something reminded me of it. And I was like, why do I want to go down this rabbit hole of like, and that sucks, and why did that person do this, and why did this happen, and poor me, and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, what am I doing? I've already talked about this. I've already released this. I can just let it go now. And there was no pain in my body. It was just an intrusive thought. I took a deep breath and I chose to breathe through it, and I chose to be joyful. I chose not to lean into the addiction of that mentality of poor me and I'm so annoyed. And because we've been taught by society and the media and the movies we watch and, you know, the different martyrs all around us, that suffering makes us right. That if we suffer, if we're hurt, then we didn't deserve for that thing to happen to us, and that person hurt me. But what if we decided that actually everything's been perfect so far? That everything that ever happened to us up until now was uniquely perfect so that you can do the work that you came here to do, so that you can serve the people you came here to serve, so that you can heal the wounds in the collective that you came here to heal. What if every single thing that ever happened to you, that you ever did, that anybody ever did to you, what if all of that was perfect? And I know a lot of you are going to reject that, and that is completely okay. That is completely okay. But imagine for a second if you did. Just imagine. What if you went, okay, that was all perfect, and you were zen about it, and you were grateful for your life, and you said, I'm so grateful that I had exactly the life I had. You wouldn't be able to be mad at anybody anymore, would you? You couldn't help but forgive everybody who ever hurt you. And you couldn't help but forgive yourself for everything that you've ever done. You couldn't help but see it as the work of a divine greater than you. You couldn't help but acknowledge that actually we don't have much control at all. I mean, how many times have you had guidance or intuition or people saying, do this, do this, do this, do this, and you're like, no. And then you find yourself there anyway, through the back door or circuitously. I got to call my mum on, it was my birthday recently too. So I had my birthday, Mother's Day, and then my mum's birthday all together. And my partner's mum's birthday now too. So we've got all this beautiful mother energy in Taurus season, which I love. So I've had a lot of wonderful conversations with mothers and with myself about that. But I got to talk to my mum and say, I'm so sorry that it took me so many years to get that everything you were telling me was exactly right for me. She used to say to me, Kelly, you can't work for anybody, you have to work for yourself. No way you can follow instructions from someone else. And she used to tell me stories about how Louise Hay, who wrote You Can Heal Your Life, how she started off, her publishing house, Hay House, started because she made like little cards on how to heal yourself, and she sold them for 50 cents each, door to door. That's how she got started. And she said, Kelly, you're going to do that too. And I was like, I don't want to work that hard. I don't want to be an entrepreneur. I just want them paying me to do something. Like, that doesn't sound like me at all, Mom. That sounds like hard work. And what happened? I became a freelance editor, writer, publisher, made my own readings, went from doing them for free to doing them for $10, $11, $33, and just working my way up until I'm building something, working for myself. And Mum was right the whole time. She was always telling me that I had everything I needed within me. She was talking to me about, the divine and all of that, and I just couldn't hear it. But I ended up there anyway. I fought her and fought her and fought her, and I exercised my will and control, and I still ended up exactly where I was meant to be. And this happens on a daily level too. I parked the car with my kid. I was killing some time while my oldest was on a play date. And I went, I feel really guided to walk over to that cafe now. And I walked over there, and they didn't have food for my kid, but they did have this beautiful Rumi quote on the wall, which I took a photo of, and I felt like I really needed to hear that day. And I said to the person behind the counter, do you do food here? And they said, no, but go to this one particular cafe down the road. And at that point, I was just kind of tired and didn't want to be told what to do. And, I was like, okay, I'm not really listening to his directions, which is kind of unlike me, but I was tired. I'm like, yeah, whatever, I'm not going to do that. And I wasn't listening to him. And I ended up going off strolling with my toddler, just anywhere I felt intuitively guided to. And then I thought, I want to take him to the playground. Then the heavens opened, started raining really heavily, and my kid said, I'm really, really hungry. So I went, okay, we'll take shelter in this place right here. And it was the exact place that person had just told me to go. It was the exact same cafe. And I was just sitting there with my kid, having a little snack, people watching the rain and all of that. And it was just so beautiful. I was just sitting there laughing at myself. Like, why do any of us think we have any control? Why do any of us think, like a toddler thinks it's in control, right? Until they have a tantrum and don't get what they want. So a toddler goes, everything's great, I'm in control, I'm the captain of my destiny. And then they're like, but I wanted that. And then they go, rah, I'm not in control. But the truth is the toddler was never in control. The toddler didn't get to decide what they wanted to eat or where they wanted to go. Somebody else is doing all of that for them. They can't do that for themselves. It's only when things aren't going their way that they think that they're not in control. But they were never in control. It's the same with us. When everything's going well, we're like, wow, look what I did. Look what I controlled, right? But then when things are out of control or seem chaotic, we're like, oh no, I'm out of control. You were never in control. Just keep surrendering and trusting and listening to that light in your heart. Okay? Okay, sorry. I'm trying to do like a South Park joke, but it's not working. It's just getting a little bit culturally insensitive, sorry. Okay, excuse me. Okay, so we're talking about loving ourselves and being curious about what comes up. Okay? Just trust. Trust that you know the way. Trust, let yourself know what you know. Okay? You're doing this. Really, for most of you, the only thing standing between you and your highest joy is just giving yourself permission to be the divinely connected light being that you are. Are you all remembering to let your wings out? Are you all remembering to say, I give permission for my higher self to speak through me today? Are you all greeting pain and suffering with open arms and saying, okay, thank you for drawing attention to something I still need to release? Like, I'm not good at this either. I still like throw myself on the ground sobbing. Like, the point is to just have compassion and care for ourselves and just keep being curious. Okay. See if I've got any more questions. The simplest, most minute thought can also be the most transformative. Absolutely. And how beautiful is it when you hear something that you've known logically all the time, right? You're like, yeah, I know that. But then you feel it in your body and you're like, oh, now I know that. And it becomes embodied knowing, it becomes integrated when you're like, I get it now. Like, I've been saying that for ages, or I've been listening to that for ages, but now I finally get it. And you're trying to explain to someone, like, but now I know it. Like, that's also one of the most exciting feelings you can get. Little controlled folly, make sure others worthy of you, set you straight with candor. Yeah, making sure others are worthy of you too. But I am also of the perspective that the entire universe is an oracle card. So, for example, if I'm walking down the street and people are being rude and like knocking into me, I'm like, wow, my frequency is a wreck right now. Because usually I'm walking down the street and everyone's like, hi, top of the morning to ya, you know, it's Pleasantville. And so the second someone's rude to me, I'm like, this is a reflection of something in me right now, right? And at the moment, a lot of my relationships are really beautiful and healed. Like, I called my grandmother the other night. She's a Jehovah's Witness. Love to the Jehovah's Witnesses, but like, it's a very strict religious system. And she was always preaching to me growing up, and it created a lot of barriers between us. And to be honest, she's probably a narcissist. She was very abusive to my mother. And usually our conversations when I was a kid would be like, she'd monologue for 3 hours straight, not let you get a word in. And, you know, my mum and I would kind of laugh. We'd put her on speaker and just like walk around the house, do whatever. You know, this is when it was handsets. Walk around the house, not talk to her, not listen or anything, come back an hour later and she's still talking and not even notice that we've left. Like, that's usually my relationship with my grandmother. And I've spoken to her maybe twice in like 5, 6, 7 years. But because it was Mother's Day, and because I'm really committed to doing this ancestral healing, and because I see a lot of parallels between my grandmother and grandfather in my life with my children's father, at the moment I thought, okay, I'm going to call my grandmother and just show her some respect. And we had the best conversation we've ever had. It was actually a back and forth. She listened to my ideas. I got to thank her for trying to save me, for you know, telling me that, you know, God's out there and that love is available to us. And I took what I needed to take from that. And it was really, really beautiful and really sweet. And, you know, she made a couple of snide comments like, oh, your mother's a nasty piece of work or whatever. But at the same time, it was the best conversation I've ever had with her. And I don't know if I would have been able to like make my peace with her before she eventually passes away without that conversation. So it was beautiful to have. And so I'm trying to heal these relationships in my life because that's a reflection of who I am on the inside, right? And really there's kind of like one relationship in my life at the moment that is pretty unpleasant and chaotic. So I'm recognizing that that's something in me where I haven't forgiven deeply enough, and I haven't allowed myself to set us all free from that. So that's my work to do. So if there are people around you who aren't worthy of you, ask yourself, where are you not honoring yourself? Where do you see yourself as unworthy? And if you choose yourself and you understand that you're worthy, and you go, actually, I do deserve this, which is deep, hard work, by the way. Like, you know, I know it's fun. People are like, oh, love yourself, love yourself, love yourself. It's like, cool, thanks, I love myself, you know, like, how do I do that? Thanks. And, you know, sometimes you say you love yourself because it's not nice to say that you don't love yourself, but, you know, to really deeply love yourself can take a lot of work, right? But when you get to that point of being like, you know what, I deserve better than this and I'm going to act accordingly, those people who are unworthy of you will disappear anyway. It works. It completely works. And I just also say that, you know, within, without, above, below, set boundaries in your physical life that mirror those energetic boundaries, okay? If you're like, I'm not going to think about that person, I'm not going to send my energy to that person, then like, maybe also mute their messages, maybe also forward their emails to spam, you know, like just give yourself those physical boundaries and space. And that's also like, well, not only is that going to bring harmony between the energy and the physical world, but it's also going to be a demonstration to universe, God, yourself, that you're taking this seriously. You know, don't just say, I don't deserve this toxic person in my life, I cut the cords and cast them aside, and then answer their texts immediately and get all caught up in their drama again. It's like, well, did you just mean what you say? Let your actions speak for you. And, you know, that's hard to do too. Like, I'm learning all of this as well, but just let yourself see the outside world as a reflection of you and be curious. Again, be curious. Why is this coming up? Why is this person treating me this way? Why are they treating me that way? You know, I've been joking about how quick the law of attraction is and how annoying it is. Because whenever I get in this super needy, like, nobody loves me, I just need a hug, and why do people look after me? People disappear or start being mean to me. Because I'm attracting the energy of worthlessness, of need. And so I'm just going to attract more need, and things start pushing away from me. And it is so annoying, because how badly do you just need a hug sometimes? But when, you know, and that doesn't mean that you can't ask for a hug, but do it from a place of like, I'm worth some affection, and I love you, and this is going to be healing for both of us. Let's sit together and share our feelings and hold space for each other and love each other. Like, that's a nicer energy for the law of attraction, right? That's going to bring what you need closer to you. Okay. Excuse me for all these tangents all over the place. Oh, thank you for the hugs. Speaking of Mother's Day, I'm so torn about expanding my family. Would you like me to tune into that for you, HRP? Because, yeah, a lot of people have been having those questions lately. You know, it's hard to expand your family at the end of the world. I know I had plenty of moments, you know, when I had my newborn for the first time, and I was like, you know, at the time Australia was completely on fire. Like, I don't know if you remember that on the news, but the whole country was on fire. And I was like, why am I done bringing a child into this world? And then, you know, I was like, okay, he chose to be here. And that gives me hope. If kids are still being born, if souls are still choosing to be here, then there must be a good reason to be here, right? They're all just like, oh yeah, I want to drown in rising tides. They're like, no, like, I'm here to make a difference. I'm here to enjoy the excitement of Earth turning inside out and flipping everything and waking up on a whole new level. Like, if you ever wanted more hope, look at the kids being born. They've got purpose. They've got drive. They're not just like voyeuristic sadists who want to like be standing around us while we're all on fire being like, haha, suck it mum, suck it dad, suck it grandma. Like, the kids are here because there's opportunity here. And you notice how a lot of them don't really fit into Earth? Some of them integrate better than others, but some of them are pretty alien. So they chose to be here, pretty alien. I'm taking that as a sign that the Earth is about to get pretty alien too. And by alien, I just mean different to how we know it. Very, very different. I get a lot of hope from that. Alrighty. How we doing? how would you get a reading from me? Oh, guess what? I've just started pay what you want readings. Or I'm trying to. Anyway, at the moment all I've got is like a little drop down box where it's like you can pay like $7 or $77 or $15 or $1,000,000 or whatever. I'm still working out how to use my website. But they're 20-minute pre-recorded readings. You can send me a couple of questions. I'll pre-record. I'll do as much as I can in 20 minutes. I can't remember how low I made it. Maybe I'll just make a drop-down box from like 1 to like 1,000 or something and type them all in. I don't know how I'm gonna work that yet. And I also want to make it so that people can pay with like Bitcoin and stuff like that too if they want to. Highly recommend that you all do that. Diversify your prosperity. The other way to access me, if you don't want to pay for a reading, they're 222 Australian dollars. So if you're in like Australia or Canada, it's cheaper than that. They're a bit expensive, but I get very, very, very busy, so I have to keep raising my prices just to stem the flow of work, which I'm so, so lucky about. And I get scared because I burn out, and I'm very good in the astral of being like, I'm open for business, and being like, no, 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 stop, I'm so burned out. So I've made my readings quite expensive. I realize it's a bit prohibitive for some people, but because of that, I'm doing these 20-minute pay what you want readings, and I also have a Patreon group, which is really affordable, and honestly, so cool. Like, I'm going to toot my own horn a bit here, but we do so much in that group. I do channeled Q&As, so, you know, we sit down on a Zoom call for like 2 hours, 3 hours sometimes, and I just channel messages. Like, I can tune into your soul, higher self, archangels, star nations, and people there are all learning how to channel too. So we do psychic reading practice groups, we do workshops, we're doing like healing meditations, healing energies, and a lot of people in that group have started their own groups as well, their own healing groups and their own like psychic practice groups. And it's just such a beautiful community. And if you feel called to join the Patreon, please join it. It's extremely good value. You get access to all the replays. I think it starts at like 18 Australian dollars a month or like 11 US dollars a month. And some people just join for like a month, watch a bunch of replays, come to a workshop, and then like cancel it, and that's totally fine. You know, it's worth it for me because I'm running them anyway. So, you know, come along, check it out. You know, you might get to ask a question in a Q&A. The group isn't super big. I think among like all the different tiers, there's probably like 50 members at the moment, and not everybody makes it to every call. So there's heaps of time for people to ask questions and really engage too. So like you do actually get my attention. It's not like a group of 500 people and 3 people get to ask a question. That's it. Like I actually work with you all and get to know you all too. So that's really cool. So if you want a reading, if you want to work with me, join the Patreon. There's a pay what you want thing. My partner's been telling me to do that for ages, which is super fun. Okay. I crashed my car twice in 3 months over Christmas. Oh no. I'm so sorry. That's really insensitive for me to laugh about. That's funny. Clearly a message about going in the wrong direction, wanting to stop yourself. You know, like you're maybe charging too far in the wrong way. And then your higher self is like, no, slow down. A lot of people are also self-sabotaging their licenses at this time. If you're getting a lot of speeding fines, tickets, parking tickets, car problems, if you're on the precipice of like, I actually might not be able to drive anymore, things like that, listen to that. A lot of people have been guided to give up their cars. We could probably all come up with a bunch of conspiracy theories for why Spirit doesn't want us relying on cars at the moment, but you know, if you've got a bike, get it serviced. If you're able to ride a bike, if you've got like I don't know, I'm just being told to ride bikes, and like that's for me, but for some reason the cars are not going to be a big thing. Okay, welcome to the Age of Aquarius. Absolutely, thank you. I value magic too, everybody. We're all connected. I'm so excited to slowly meet you all. I even got to meet one of you guys in the park at Roma Street Parklands. I remember your son's name is Bodhi. Sorry, I forgot your name. I'll remember. I love running into you guys around town and on different Zoom calls. Like sometimes I meet you guys on other people's Zoom calls, like White Walls. Super fun. So surprised to see you. Everyone's freshman, we went to high school. Who are you? We went to high school together. HRP, reveal yourself. Alright, looking for questions. I have lots of else I want to share with you guys, but I want to get to your questions before I get too far away. Have a problem with losing track of mind? You mean track of time or track of mind? That's a really cool thing. Yeah, you can all control time, by the way. Slow down, breathe, and be present. I know that's the most boring advice ever. You're like, I want to be still and breathe. And guess what? That's like the key to everything. The key to everything. I'm going to start doing a breathwork course. I've been forgetting to breathe my whole life. And I'm learning to breathe now. Okay. Up to the back. Mother's Day. Drop to your knees. Yeah. Got issues with love. Yep. Well, love is all that there is. Everything comes back to love. You know, if you want to feel close to the divine and God, just keep opening yourself up to love. And it gets better and better and easier and easier. You're in a grade or two below. Holly, hello Holly. Did we do drama together? Are we doing like drama fest rehearsals or something? That would make sense. Hello. Yeah, in high school I was like, you know, next Patreoners will try and catch it out. Tomorrow there's a psychic reading group practice. It's a full moon, a Scorpio full moon. I was born under a full moon, but it was like, because of the precession of equinoxes, it was like just ticked over from Scorpio and Sagittarius, but I was born Taurus, Sun, Sagittarius full moon, but like kind of Sagittarius Scorpio full moon. So yeah, I'm super excited. I'm like sitting in my natal chart right now. So yeah, psychic reading group practice for this full moon. There's another one on the new moon. We're doing a universal healing meditation that actually everyone's going to be invited to. So it's going to be an open call. I'm going to have a call with my teacher, Sarah Yip, the numbers queen. She's a celebrity numerologist. She's super, super awesome, super amazing at manifesting. Is one of those people who's, you know, a woman of few words, but just like looks deeply into your soul and tells you exactly what you need to hear straight away. And we did a call on how to win competitions like 6 weeks ago, and we want to do a follow-up call on that to see how we're going. So that's going to be something coming up this month, and yeah, some other stuff going on. But there's usually about like 4 calls every month at least, so it's super busy there. And the bigger that gets, the more energy I'm putting into it as well. Okay, so one of the things I wanted to talk about then, if everybody's quiet on questions for a minute. Somebody emailed me about this a while ago, and I meant to sit down and properly answer it, but maybe I didn't because this information was for everybody. So she asked me, you know, I want to get into doing readings for people. I want to turn this into a business. What's your advice? How can I get started? And my teacher, Sarah Yip, tells a story about when she was trying to get started, and she called like every psychic in the area asking for advice, and only one person got back to her. And she and her are like still friends, like, you know, over a decade later. You know, I've met her teacher, and she's a really supportive person. It's just so nice to have those communities and to put your hand out there and to empower people. You know, like us doing the people-facing work, like there's nothing about us that makes us more special than anybody else. And if you're drawn to this and you're like, that's really cool, I wish I could do that, it's because you can do it. It's because you can. And you know, the great thing about like YouTube and the internet is I don't have to go buy a business to go do this work and commit to one thing. My work gets to evolve with it. Because you're all evolving, and you're all not going to need readings soon. You're all going to have your own internal guidance, and you're going to be listening directly to the highest light or the deepest light, whatever that means to you. And you won't need to listen to us anymore. So I don't know what our role will be to each other after that. Maybe it'll be You know, just corroboration, connection, music, healing the earth, healing each other. You know, maybe there's a lot that we can all do and travel and learn together, but you're not going to need to tell people what your intuition is already telling you. But if you're getting into this work now, here's some advice. 1, let yourself be foolish. Don't pretend that you know everything. Don't pretend that you're an expert if you're not. Don't say, I'm the #1 galactic astrologer, I'm the #1 pet psychic, I do everything, and if you think I'm wrong, you're wrong, and you're too closed-minded, and you're just not high vibe enough. It's like, no. Don't do that. Oh yeah, can't read yourself. Yeah, fair enough, Holly. It is really, really hard to read yourself. Fair enough. Sometimes your ego gets triggered in the way, and you need that support. Absolutely, that's always going to be a thing. Thank you for saying that. But you know, be a fool. Don't be afraid, especially when you're starting out. You know, go, okay, I'm just learning. I am going to do my best to channel in, bring some things through. It might make sense to you, it might not. I'm excited to hear your feedback, you know, immediately after the reading and down the track. If it starts to make more sense, it'll come to fruition for you. I'd be super, super grateful for that. Okay, and you could do readings for feedback to start off with, for example. And then even when you get more experience and get more developed, you can sit down with that and go, okay, this is what I usually do, but I'm actually not sure about this right now. Like, you're allowed to be wrong. And guess what? There's no encyclopedia for the entire universe, right? There's the Akashic Records, but there isn't like a physical book where you can point to and go, see, I was right, I looked it up in the encyclopedia. You know, there are going to be some things that are just going to be really difficult to verify, and your own soul energy is going to make you better at feeling into some things than others. And it doesn't mean that you can't feel into everything, but you know, maybe you come through with some things a little bit more natural to you. Like, for example, like, I think I'm really connected to nature. I really feel an affinity with animals. I really feel like I can talk to my plants, you know, like, I'm such a tree hugger. Like, that's something I really feel into. But like technology, for example, my intuition is not as strong around that. I have trouble feeling into that. Maybe you're, you know, an Arcturian starseed, and computers and machines and mechanics and all of that just fall into place for you. You're going to be able to channel information more accurately that's related to that then. So if stuff comes up that you're not sure about, just say that. Just say that, and don't be embarrassed. Just say, look, I'm sorry, I don't know. Like, if that information is blocked right now, and you can say, maybe we can do a clearing, maybe we can ask a different question, maybe we phrased it wrong. You know, just allow yourself to be wrong. Be as honest as possible. Okay? A reading that you give to someone can change their entire lives. You know, if you sit down with someone and they say, am I meant to be with my partner? And you're not sure, don't say yes or no. They might go immediately break up with the love of their lives or their soulmate because you told them to. Don't get it wrong. Just say, I don't know. And feel into that. Again, be curious about those feelings. If you get like a discordant feeling when you're doing a reading, go, you know what, it's not a clear yes or no. There's definitely stuff to heal there. There's definitely a lot of issues, but I'm also feeling a lot of love and connection there. Maybe it's worth exploring if there's some healing work or a way you can meet each other first before you make a decision about this. You know, and maybe that's not the most exciting answer. Maybe that feels too sensible and like you don't need a psychic to tell you that. But be honest about what you're feeling. It's not always going to be sexy or fun, okay? So that's #1 advice. Be a fool. Be okay with not knowing things. Because you don't. Like, don't make it up. Don't pretend you know. Okay, rule #2. Know what you know. Okay? Know what you know. If you do know it though, if it's a big yes, like big white light in your chest, like yes, that is the truth, and it feels good and you feel energetic, and you're like, yes, that's what I have to do. But then you go, but that doesn't actually make logical sense. Don't doubt it. Don't doubt it. You know, I was called to, trigger warning for people who have experienced religious trauma. My family has experienced a lot of religious trauma, so please don't think that I'm telling you all to go buy a Bible. But I've been doing Bible study lately. And one of the pages that came up for me recently was this idea of the lukewarm church. This idea of, well, if you're hearing divine guidance, if you know what the correct answer is, if you know where you're meant to go, don't do it halfway. Like, don't sort of do it. Like, either you're accepting the mission or you're rejecting the mission. And you're allowed to reject the mission. You know, you have free will. You're allowed to reject it. You're allowed to go another way. You're allowed to be a rebel. You know, like, God gave us free will, right? Like, he'll forgive you greater, and sorry, I'm personifying God here, the light, the universe, all that is. But, you know, if you just reject it, then maybe you're ignorant. Maybe there's something for you to explore there, right? But if you know that it's right in your heart, and then you're like, still not sort of really gonna commit to it, then you're like between timelines, you know? And I feel like I'm talking to myself here. It's like, well, okay, Kelly, are you making all the leaps you've been told to make in your leap? And, you know, I made a lot of leaps, okay, it's coming. But, you know, it's this idea of like throwing yourself into things. You know, let yourself know what you know. And even in, so I looked up like Luciferianism, like Satanism, because there was this news story about how, in the United States, some states were paying religious groups to do after school care and like, because they thought it was like religious instruction. So they were just saying religious groups get funding for like after school care, but everybody else doesn't. So like some like Lucifer worshipping church was like, cool. And they just ran like a secular program where they just like gave food and stuff to kids. It was basically like an agnostic atheist option for kids, and like a really cheeky, smart aleck thing to do. But because it actually seemed like a nice thing to do, I was like, you know what, I'm going to look them up before I judge them. And one of the things that really resonated for me, and sorry, now I sound like I'm preaching Satan worshipping. It's like, I'm not into it, but I read their rules and I was like, they don't sound that different to like God's rules. And one of them was, you know, if there's magic in your life, don't deny it. Don't deny the magic. Don't deny your guidance. Don't tell people like, oh no, magic isn't real, I made that happen. It's like, no, you didn't. You called in love and light and the energy of abundance and prosperity, and you did the self-work. Like, don't pretend that it's not there. Don't deny it. Because to deny it is to like dishonor the guidance and the love that you've received. It's like saying, you know, angels, please tell me what to do. And they tell you what to do, and you're like, I'm not doing that. It's like, well, why did you ask then? You know, like, let the energy move. Are you going to receive what we're giving you? Are you going to act on it? Same thing when a reading comes through. You know, you don't know how many times I've had to sit there and say the weirdest thing ever to people. Or something really specific, or something really strange. And I'm thinking, please don't make me say that. I'm going to sound like a complete psycho. What if they don't know about that? What if they don't believe in that? Or even I don't believe in that? You know, that's just too out there for even me. And I'm like, okay, guess I have to say it. I'll usually say something like, look, please excuse me. I feel really awkward saying this. It doesn't make sense to me. But it's just such a strong yes in my heart that I feel like I need to say it. Please just leave it if it doesn't make sense, and then tell them what it is. And every single time the other person has gone, I know exactly what you're talking about. It's crazy that you said that. Like, every single time. And if I've ever like forgotten to pass on that message, it'll come up again. It'll be like an hour after the reading's finished. It'll like slam me in the face. I'm like, oh, okay, better send another email. So know what you know. Don't pretend. Stop doubting yourself. If you feel it light up in your heart like a big white light, then you know it. You know it. If you're going back and forth and you're not sure and you're too much in your head, you know, sit with it a bit longer. Breathe. Know what you know. Okay, let's give them at least one more piece of advice for starting a psychic business. Or getting into the woo-woo work, right? Okay, Spirit. Allow the Holy Spirit speak through me. Okay, always pledge yourself to the light. Always ask that the information coming through is for the highest light and love, truth and compassion. There's so much ego out there and so many people doing this for the wrong reasons. And honestly, sometimes that's hard to separate when you're like, I gotta put food on the table. It's hard sometimes not to be like, I need to make some money and I need to do more readings. You know, do you know how many times I've thought, I need to go write like a twin flame ebook because I live in my twin flame and we're real happy and real love and in love and people spend heaps of money on twin flame stuff. I need to go write a twin flame thing. But then I'm reminded, like, just because you're living with your twin flame doesn't mean you know anything about it, Kelly. And like, yeah, like, you know, I watched all the videos and did all the meditations and all the timeline jumping stuff, and like there's a lot out there that's really, really helpful, but I really don't think we have a good idea of what's going on out there, and I need to like channel that and get closer to God so that I can bring something of quality through so I can be useful to you and not just make money of selling an ebook because everybody on the twin flame journey is so desperate that they'll just throw money at anything. I know I did that. So it's really hard sometimes not to be like, I have an offering and I want to receive as well, and I know I deserve to receive, but I can't give the offering from a place of greed or want or anything. That's really hard to separate sometimes. And the best way to separate that is to just take it all off the table. Just don't even think about that. Just call in the light. Say you're serving the highest good. The highest good, the highest light. And allow your higher self to come into you. Allow the light to fill you up. If in doubt, just keep breathing in white light, whatever you're doing, and just say, I'm serving the light. Use me, God. Use me, love. Allow me to be a vessel for love. And just trust that whatever's going to happen is going to be exactly right. You know, one of the things these mother energies keep reminding me of recently is that without the earth, there is no such thing as abundance. There is no abundance without food, without clean water, without clean air. You know, if you're worried about abundance, go plant a seed. Literally, go to your local hardware shop and buy a plant and stick it in the ground. Say, this is for you, mama. That's what abundance is. That's how you get the energy of abundance. Taurus season is a good time to do that too. Okay. Alright, I'll see if there are any more questions. Could never just charge for showing up as myself. I know, and why is that? Why can't we charge for being ourselves? Were we told that making money has to be hard? Were we told that it was supposed to be painful? Were we told that who we are isn't enough? Did we tell ourselves that? Why can't we charge for showing up as ourselves? Why can't we charge for our wisdom, for our time, for our love? Feels icky. Okay, good. Be curious about that. Why does it feel icky? Feel into that. Why is it icky? What would happen if you got on a stage, Holly, and gave a talk for half an hour about everything that you've learned and what you think you could give to other people? And then you got to have a Q&A and a sit down with people afterwards, and everybody bought a ticket for $35. And you made maybe $1,000 out of that event. Like taking advantage of someone. Good. Be curious about that. You're taking advantage of them. Why would you be taking advantage of someone for sharing your wisdom with them? Especially if the poster for it was like, I'm just Holly, and this is just what I reckon. And if you'd like to pay me for my time, literally my worst nightmare. Okay, good. Okay. I had a lot of that as well. I was like, what if I'm ripping people off? What if I'm making this all up? What if none of this is real and I'm just some crackpot who's conned people into believing they have a soul? Like, I've dealt with that a lot. Okay? What about this, Holly? Why don't we flip it around? What if you do know what you're talking about? What if you have within you exactly what somebody else needs to hear and they're waiting for you? They have a soul contract with you for you to activate something for them. What if they need you now? What if someone out there is in pain right now and they need to hear your story because it's their story and you're 3 steps ahead of them? What if they need to know that and they're waiting for you and you're sitting at home thinking, I can't do that? Can you imagine the joy and satisfaction and the tears that are going to come from when you get to have that first session and someone comes up to you afterwards and they say, you saved my life today? What about when somebody says, this is the first time I really feel seen, or I really needed to hear that today? If you could save somebody's life with a word of advice, what do you think that would be worth to them with a dollar sign? If there was something somebody could say to you that would change the entire course of your life, what would that be worth to you dollar-wise? How much have you impulse bought on a jacket, on a hat, on a handbag, on food that you've thrown in the bin because it went off before you got a chance to eat it? Think about the amount of money that goes down the toilet in that way. Do you really think a talk or wisdom or love would not be worth it? Something that they'll remember forever? Probably because I don't feel safe. Good. Okay, I don't feel safe. That's good. Be honest with yourself. Is it a fear to be seen? Or you feel like people are going to make you justify yourself? Like you have to defend yourself? Because I find sometimes that energy of the fool is what helps with that. If somebody comes up to you and says, you're wrong, you say, maybe. I didn't pretend that I was right. Being seen, I hate it. Okay, this is good. This is when we get into the past life stuff. This is fun, very, very private. Okay. Often, Holly, and excuse me if I'm projecting a bit here, because I've been through all of this and still go through all of this. Often the fear of being seen is related to a past life where you feel like you've done something wrong, where you feel like you have some karma to make up for. Thank you so much for the love. I really appreciate that, Angel Satori. May it multiply times 10,000. So it's a subconscious, unconscious fear, right? For me, it manifested in high school. It's really bad acne. It was like pimples all through here, really gorgeous whiteheads. And I would wear my hair like this so that you couldn't see my face. And I'd stand like this. And even though I was super weird and charismatic and, you know, wanted to be funny and everything, I was still subconsciously trying to hide myself, even though I knew it was my job to talk to people and be seen, right? But what was this from? Sense of shame, survivor's guilt, like let yourself keep going into it, get through those levels of pain. You know, ask yourself these questions, but why do I feel that? Why do I feel that? Why did I feel that? You just started having acne, never had it before. Yeah, it's a fear of being seen. Acne is a fear of being seen. I healed my acne by staring at myself in the mirror and going, it is safe for me to be seen. It is safe for me to be seen. It is safe for me to be seen. It is safe for me to be seen now. I am protected. It is safe for me to be seen. And the acne went away. Every time I start to feel a little bit ashamed, or I'm like, I did something bad in this life or another life, get pimples on my face. And then I have to go, why? Or, you know, maybe I feel ashamed, or maybe I'm feeling like, you know, sexually objectified or vulnerable, or maybe there's something going on there. Why does it feel so uncomfortable though? Yeah, but what's on the other side of that discomfort? Don't be afraid of discomfort. Embrace it. Go, yes, love it. Feel the burn, feel the pain. Start getting excited about it. You know, do you ever like do something deliberately uncomfortable so that you can be really comfortable later? Like when I was a kid, I used to scrunch myself into a ball so I could have like a really big stretch afterwards and go, that's amazing. But like we hurt ourselves all the time to give ourselves like a payoff at the end that happens. You know, ears pierced, things like that. I had to get this pierced twice. That was so painful. But I'm like feeling super woo woo, and I feel like I got woo woo boho chick street cred now. So it's a bit vain, but it's fun. You know, like there's always a payoff on the other side of discomfort. Everything you want is on the other side of discomfort. It's not even that bad. And also, how exciting is it when we get to experience the thrill of that, of like, I'm afraid, but I'm doing it anyway. Like, that's the best feeling. That's why we like roller coasters. Do you go on roller coasters, Holly? Like, the fear is the fun part. Do you get that? Like, if it was all easy, it wouldn't be fun. Think about the things in your life that are super easy. You know, do you appreciate all of those? think it's because we know what's painful is temporary, but being with yourself isn't temporary. Girl, no. Yeah, but okay, Holly. This is why readings are good too, because it really helps to have someone who can see you. Yeah, okay. This is another reason why readings are still good and helpful, especially as more people wake up. I don't know why I'm like, no one will need a reading one day. It's like, okay, maybe that's like 100 years from now, 50 years from now. It's really hard to get time right with spirit, because to spirit everything is happening now. So when you're like, when is it happening? You know, they'll be like, go get boxes of water and bikes and stockpile food. And you're like, yeah, but you know, if the power's going to go out like 10 years from now, all my food's going to expire. Like, can you be more specific, spirit? You're making it sound really urgent, but I don't know if this is happening tomorrow, you know. Anyway, so spirit gets timing funny, so I don't know when we're not going to need readings anymore. But when you get a reading and somebody really sees you and they see your gifts, that's really, really exciting. But a really good thing too is when they see your pain, because that's when they get to show you why you have your pain. You know, that's when we get to sit down and go, okay, you feel like you have survivor's guilt because your people 1 billion years ago were all wiped out and you escaped, but you didn't get to save anybody with you, and you feel tremendous guilt and you don't want people to know that about you because you're afraid that if they see you, they will think that you're selfish, that you're a coward, that you didn't deserve to live, and that you don't deserve the martyrdom or the prize of the souls who did perish. Often, you know, there's something like that that comes out, right? And then we usually get to feel into what's the gift in that. And this is why the gene keys are really cool. Look up the Gene Keys by Richard Rudd, because it's all about the gift. Good morning, Austria. This is about like the gift in the pain. Like, okay, so you had all of that pain, all of that guilt, all of what you perceive as bad karma, which isn't necessarily bad karma at all. You know, someone who escaped a concentration camp, you're not going to say, how dare you didn't save more people. Like, you would never judge somebody else like that, but we judge ourselves that way. We do. So you get to look at that and go, okay, well, despite all of that pain, despite all of what you perceive as bad karma, you're here with a mission on the planet right now. Why is this good for you? Maybe the people who perished or your soul family are here on the planet waiting for you to say we love you and we're so happy that you got out and you got to tell our story. Maybe there's a theme in your family on Earth and you were born into that ancestry. Maybe you were born as a descendant of someone who escaped as a prisoner of war or something and they had survivor's guilt. And as you get to understand that in yourself, you heal that entire family line. You know, the pain is important. We're here for a reason. And if we were pure light beings, like just pure awesome angels with like no heaviness whatsoever, would we even be able to get to Earth or stay on Earth? Would our frequency even be a match? Trigger warning, I want to talk about pregnancy loss for a second. Like, I've had a miscarriage. And I think part of that is that soul coming in at a time which is such a high frequency that I couldn't handle it. You know, as soon as I got pregnant, I was having like panic attacks, like non-stop. And I really wanted this pregnancy. I prayed for this pregnancy. I was so ready for this pregnancy. But it was just anxiety after anxiety after anxiety. And it was just like my body wasn't calibrating fast enough to the energy. You know, these souls coming in are so high vibe, and it's almost like we have to crush them a little bit so that they fit. And also we have to like meet them halfway and get super high vibe too. And like, let's not judge ourselves or anything. You know, sometimes souls also just come in just to experience Earth for that little bit, and that's the whole mission, and they're gone, okay? So I say this with a lot of love and compassion for myself, and I hope that anybody who's gone through anything like pregnancy loss has a lot of love and compassion for themselves too, and thanks themselves for the work that they did, letting that soul have an opportunity to experience physicality, even for a couple of days or a couple of weeks or a couple of months. Or, you know, a couple of hours after birth, whatever it is that happened to you. I'm sorry. I hope that you are proud of yourself and love yourself for the gift that you're able to give that soul. But my point is that sometimes we need to be a little bit heavy just to be a frequency match to do the work that we're doing on this planet. And Holly, if you're this perfect light being with no pain or suffering attached to you at all, what kind of people are you going to attract to you in your life? Other beautiful, amazing light beings who don't need your help, who don't need your empathy. You want to attract people who've been through what you've been through so that you can go, oh, here are the right people to work with. Okay, yes, I've been there too. I hear you and I feel you, and I've healed that in me. And so now my frequency and my soul is going to help heal you. And that happens even without speaking. That's just my aura speaking to your aura. Energy knows the way. Energy is a payload of information. When we meet someone and we're in resonance in a certain way, for example, Holly, if you meet someone who has the same pain points as you, your aura is like a hard drive full of information that meets theirs and it shows them the way. It's why Debbie Solara says that's why, well, she talks about the relationship with Lyrans and Arcturians. I put the rest of it together. But she says that Lyrans are really drawn to Arcturians, which makes sense because my twin flame's Arcturian and I'm Lyran. Like, we're together from way back even before that. But like Lyrans got destroyed by an invasive reptilian group, but the Arcturians beat the reptilians when they came to them. So Lyrans have in their aura, oh no, bad people are going to get me, homelessness, abandonment, defeat. Arcturians have in their aura, we beat those suckers. And so when their auras meet up, the Lyrans are like, tell me what to do, help me, how did you do that? Right? And the Arcturians are going to be like, I'll teach you how to look after yourself. But yeah, our auras are constantly speaking to each other. And if you've healed something in you, the people who are still healing that will be drawn to you. Okay, anyway, I know that this is something that you have to understand in your own body, in your own time. But I hope that you're making space in your heart for the possibility that all of that fear is exactly why people need to talk to you. Okay. Alright, I have a 5-day-old grandson. Congratulations, Flower Lioness. That's beautiful. Going back and forth and having your next baby. Yup. I'm married to a Polish family and the Holocaust is always topic of conversation. I wasn't even on purpose tuning into you. Alright. Good morning. Alrighty. Thanks so much, beautiful people, for all your contributions. Does anybody have any other questions before I go back to my day and probably look at my website and try to figure out if Wix can do the things I want it to do? I don't know if you can hear the music in the background, but it's just quiet Tara mantras playing. Super chill, making my space such a sanctuary. Got like the Tibetan bowl, all the crystals everywhere. We do all the prayers and call in all the good vibes and cast out all the bad vibes. How's this moon for you? Well, I've synced up with the moon exactly, which is fun. If you catch my drift, I've deleted my cycle tracking apps. I'm just like, it's the moon, it's gonna happen. So I was a bit randomly weepy this morning. My partner made me this like delicious cacao, chia, fruit bowl. And I'm eating it and I'm like, I'm so grateful for this food and I just want to get in bed and cry. But no, it's my birthday moon, you know. I'm a Taurus sun born under a full moon, so it's been a real rebirthing process for me. The past couple of weeks were a huge detox, like literally like on my hands and knees, like vomiting, crying, like letting it all up, like so many limiting beliefs and fears. Like it's been intense, but yeah, reborn, absolutely reborn. So I've got to change how I come to this work now. But I'm feeling into it and flowing deep. Yeah, gosh, you know, Flower Lioness, you were not the first you know, woman of a around menopausal age who's talked to me about babies lately. I don't know what's going on, but a lot of people with boys are being asked to carry girls, and a lot of like menopausal, even postmenopausal women are getting hardcore spirit baby vibes. I don't really understand it, but it's something about that strong mother energy that the planet is really seeking right now. It's like the final piece of the puzzle. I'm shaking my head as I say that. No, it's not the final piece of the puzzle. It's a huge part of the puzzle. It's a big part of this awakening process. It's a part of, as we heal our mother wound, we become the mother and we empower the earth. And if you guys are doing your grounding and like putting your grounding cord into the planet, like before you meditate or just to start your day, have you noticed if you relax and surrender that the earth energy is coming up? As in like the earth energy is coming up into your body to meet you now? Feel into that. See if you can feel that. Like Gaia's waking up. Gaia's not afraid to be seen anymore. Gaia is an archangel. And she's coming up. We've got to meet her there. I actually had, okay, I'll share this with you. I had this beautiful meditation experience, right? So I was lying on the floor. Oh, okay, sorry. Back up. This is the last thing I'll say, I think. But I had this beautiful meditation experience where I had just, before going to meditate, I put selenite in 4 corners of the house and called in the angels to flush it all out and clear the space. And afterwards it felt like the house was floating. Like it felt like I was like being shook and like my feet were leaving the floor. The house felt like it was up in the clouds. And I was trying to ground it and imagining that the house had this red grounding cord and grounding the 4 corners of the house, and it wasn't quite working. And then I was letting like the earth energy and the jungle vines come up to meet the house. And it still just didn't quite feel heavy enough. So I went to meditate, and the angels showed me inner earth, and they said this is where the Lemurians are, and they showed me these beautiful beings, and you know, they were kind of like bald and they had giant eyes for seeing in the dark, and from their perspective it did look like there was a sky and it was bright underground. It was so beautiful and just so high vibe. And the angels were showing me like it doesn't get more grounded than being inside the earth, right? Like that is as grounded as it gets, and yet it was such a high vibe, you know, not quite angelic but very close to that energy in space. And the angels were saying, you know, when you're this high up, it's not going to feel the same. Grounding won't feel heavy so much anymore. And they're saying just let the light move through you. And they were showing this white light go through my head and through my body and then straight out my feet. And they said the only reason why you get headaches is because you're resisting it. You're resisting the light. Either you're not accepting it, not accepting yourself as a light being, or you think you have to be grounded and heavy for some reason. And they said just let the light move straight through you and it's okay. And so I still do grounding, but if I don't feel like super heavy, I'm not so worried about it anymore. The angels were showing me how the Lemurians had evolved too, and they said you're evolving. You know, your root isn't going to be the same anymore. Your root chakra is evolving. Your heart chakra is evolving. You know, and they were showing me like people becoming a little bit transparent and sparkly as they vibrate higher and higher. And they were saying it's just going to feel different. This is the ascension process, and you'll get used to it and you'll adjust and you'll acclimate, and don't be so afraid of it. You know, rest and breathe through it. And my point about that was something to do with like, oh yeah, so the mother energy. So Gaia is lifting up, right? She's getting brighter and brighter and higher. And so as we bring the angel energy into the earth more, that's when the earth starts to like rise all together. And that's why New Earth is a grassroots movement. Okay, I am so guilty of looking at the skies and saying, come down and bring us 0 point energy already. Like, I'm such a stargazer. Like, you know, one of my favorite poems is Walt Whitman's When I Heard the Learned Astronomer. And I'm hearing in my mind now that line, there has never been any more perfection than there is now. Is that Walt Whitman? Is that Leaves of Grass? There's never been any more perfection than there is right now. What's that from? But that's coming into my mind too. Yeah, we are so close. I know we're so close. Like, it's pretty much here. You've been a mother in every life. Thank you. Thank you for your service as a mother, Holly. That's beautiful. I feel like I have not been a mother very much, and that this is very much a gift to me in this lifetime. I feel extremely honoured and humbled and grateful to be a mother and to have this experience after being in a masculine energy, either as a woman or man, for a very long time. But you know, it's us, it's the beings of the earth and the planet herself who will liberate them. You know, have you heard that line where people have some kind of disease and they go to all the doctors and nothing works, and then finally they go, I will heal me, I will do it, and they just work out how to do it themselves. They eat differently, they intuit it, they release the fears, they forgive all of their tormentors, they do the work, and they heal themselves, right? That's what Gaia's doing, that's what we're doing. Instead of saying, save me, we're going, well, we will heal us. You know, we're not going to wait for the Galactic Federation to come down with ray guns and healing guns and like save us all. We're going to go, okay, we'll do it. We're going to be worthy of being saved. We're going to be high vibe, loving, capable, empowered people. And that power is going to come from within us. And that's a gift, because we're going to clear our karma. We're going to understand how powerful we really are. And that's how we go up. You know, we don't want to be sad little humans in the palm of an angel. We want to know ourselves as that. You know, it's like saying, can you drive me around everywhere? Or can you give me a new car? We're building our own car. We will heal us. The earth will heal herself. This is how it's coming up. And then when we've got new earth and our ET friends come down, we can say, what took you so long? Oh yeah, it's all good. We didn't need you. We did it ourselves. No, that's not true. We'll say thank you so much for your guidance and love and the energies that you sent here. But the real gift is that we get to save ourselves. And that's why engaging with this mother energy is so important. And it helps us heal the father energy too. Not had any children this lifetime. Yeah, and you know what? There are lots of ways to be a mother. Lots of ways to be a mother. Oh, thank you, Richard. Oh, beautiful people. You know, we can plant seeds, we can be kind to people, we can nurture the planet, we can nurture animals, we can invite children into our lives in all ways. There are lots of ways to be a mother. And you know, men out there, a lot of you are in a strong mother energy too. You know, I've been meeting the most amazing single dads lately who are just so loving and devoted. And you know, even my ex has the kids most of the weekdays at the moment, and he loves making lunches and he loves doting on them. You know, and I'm working on trying to heal my relationship with him at the moment. You know, my partner is so loving, maternal, the best dad I've ever seen in my life. And, you know, these other single dads I'm meeting who are also just absolutely in that mother hen energy. You know, this is your opportunity to love yourselves as mothers too. Your opportunity to go, okay, I'm worthy as a mother. You know, love yourselves for that too, and allow yourselves to receive and rest. So it probably sounds like the least feminist thing I've ever said, but you know, if there are fathers out there who are feeling a little bit ripped off on Mother's Day, maybe it's because you need to run yourself a bath and honor yourselves as mothers too. And also, you know, think about your own mothers. You know, how much have we put on our mothers that they maybe couldn't handle? And if we accept our lives as perfect up until this moment, if we accept that we chose our parents, if we accept that everything that happened to us was for exactly the right reason, how do we see our mothers then? Just a thought. Okay. I'm going to wrap this up. Thanks for listening to me ramble for a while. I hope that people got out of it what they needed to. Holly, thank you so much for being so open and generous and honest on this call. I think that's so beautiful, and I really hope that anybody else listening to this gets something out of that. And you know, also shoot me a message or something. Add me on Instagram, Holly. Okay. Good night, everyone. How do I stop this? X. End.